Hello, and welcome to the Watching Books podcast, the podcast where we discuss books that have only been adapted to both stage and screen. I'm Victoria.
I'm Laura.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Welcome to the new year. We just went on a crazy long hiatus. How are you?
Crazy busy, but doing well. New location for us. So, yes, that's part of the hiatus, isn't it? So, I had to pack up my house.
Yes. And as for me, I had to take my son to the hospital for a week for a surgery.
Yes, and we joined you and helped take care of kids for that time too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we got
And
home and
then,
we all
w-
got a stomach flu from the hospital.
thank you, hospital. That was quite enjoyable. After that lovely time with the stomach virus thing that we all had, except for my husband, our movers came. We moved from Tennessee to Kansas. So I'm in my new location and I'm still
Mhm.
trying to get set up and figure out what I want to do.
Yes. And then we had Christmas. And amidst all of that, with everything y'all were doing, we have been renovating our house. And that's been taking up a lot of time as well.
Yes, we've been
Um,
unpacking boxes. About done with that. And then, New Year's, and then we've been babysitting kids because you and Ray are in a show. Tell them what show you're in.
Mm. Yeah, we were cast in Baskerville, which is a comedy version of Sherlock Holmes and the Hound of the Baskervilles. And it has been wild. A lot of things have happened to this show that have threatened the show. And even now, like this was supposed to be our opening weekend. We were supposed to be doing our second performance tonight, but it's been postponed to the following weekend for snowstorm that we're having right now.
Welcome to winter. We finally have it. Yes, it's a lovely snowstorm and it's a lot of fun to watch. It has been snowing since Friday and it has snowed all day today, which is Saturday, but it's getting it everywhere. We are trying to sell our house in Tennessee and our realtor went by to make sure the water's dripping and our heat's up and cabinet doors are open so that the pipes are getting the heat. But he sent a picture of our house in the snow.
That's nice. Yes, I really hope y'all are able to sell soon. And I know I'm so glad to have y'all here. Y'all are actually close by, and we actually might be able to start recording in person together, which would be really nice. Because, I could set up a sweet little setup for that. But as of right now, here we are. We are still working with a stupid lag, and we think it's probably my computer, but we're going to get it figured out. So, for those of you who waited on us, who have been following us, who have subscribed, thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry that we went radio silent for a while. We need to get better about putting posts out there so you know what's going on with us. Really, this was all just a whole bunch of life happening. And for both of us, this is neither of our job. Like, I pay the bills elsewhere, so that takes priority. And also, I'm with my kids the majority of the time, and that takes priority. So, yeah, we have very busy lives. And so we're going to try to be getting episodes out to you guys sooner rather than later. You're not going to be getting weekly episodes anymore because we want to get out quality episodes, which means that we need to spend a little bit more time preparing for them, as well as giving ourselves time to edit them and get them out to you. So, I think we're shooting for at least for 2 a month, and hopefully there will come a point where maybe we could put out more than that, or we could at least start putting out mini episodes in between. I don't know yet what that looks like, but we'll see what we can do, and you guys just have to let us know what you want from us.
Since we are reading books as we watch books, there are some books that are enormous, but that we really want to cover, but they are epic in scope. So if we can focus on maybe reading one of these this year, we will be very happy. But
Yeah.
we want to give you the opportunity to vote and let us know which one you want us to do. And so we have four to look at. Keep in mind, these have all been adapted to the screen, which you will know but to the stage as well, which might be more surprising for a couple of these. The first one is
Mhm.
War and Peace. Mr. Tolstoy gave us a biggie here. I have never read it, and I have always wanted to read it. So that would be super exciting to do. Another Russian one. Anna Karenina. Ah, okay. Also Tolstoy. So 2
Oh,
Tolstoys.
yes. Yes, it
I
is Tolstoy.
have read this though, but I would definitely read it again just for you guys. And I
So
have this
2
beautiful
Tolstoys? That's funny.
I have that beautiful copy. And then one I have read several times, and I will gladly read it again, Gone with the Wind. And I would love to do this. Margaret Mitchell, her only book ever. My copy is very old. And then the final one, which I don't own, but Victoria does, The Hunchback of
Mhm.
Notre Dame.
By Victor Hugo.
So those are the 4. Which one would you like us to do? Please leave us a comment. Let us know. We will definitely put a poll out there so that you can mark it or leave us a comment. Let us know. And we will hopefully get it read within 9 months, 10 months. And that way, then we will have the time to read it, to watch the portions of it we want to watch, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. I would be really excited to do any of those, and of all of those, the only one have read no, I've read 2 of them before. I've also read Gone with the Wind and Anna Karenina. War and Peace would be exciting, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame would be exciting. That, I think, is the shortest one of all 4, but Victor Hugo is he is a wordy man. Um, I do think it would take me a hot minute to get through it, but
And I've never read
War and Peace
Hunchback.
gets me excited to think about because I
Yes.
love the miniseries, and then I think there are other versions of the movie as well, but the miniseries is so good. And then I also love Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812, which is our Broadway musical that we get from War and Peace. I'm excited for any of them.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I'm in my Christmas jammies that you gave me with all my
I
books
love them.
on them. I'm surrounded by new Christmas presents, actually. So, Mom, what book are we watching today?
We are watching In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash by Jean Shepherd.
Everyone knows that one. And also, we're talking the sequel, Wanda Hickey's Night of Golden Memories. Now, everyone knows this actually as A Christmas Story. My husband gave me all 3 of these, this A Christmas Story little copy right here, and then the other 2 books, In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash, and Wanda Hickey's Night of Golden Memories. He gave me all 3 of these for my birthday this year in hopes that I would do this story for the podcast. So, can we just give a shout out to both of our husbands for how supportive they are of us doing this podcast? They're the best. For
Thank
those who
you,
don't know, like
Michael.
Ray, my husband, buys me books that he knows we can do on the podcast. He pays for tickets so I can go see shows to do on the podcast. He has been so supportive. And like right now, he has to leave for work early tonight so he can, get out in this snow. But he is with our kids right now so that I can be down here recording. It's just amazing. And then for those who don't know, my dad, Michael, Mom's husband, Laura's husband, he is the one who distributes our podcast. So he does all the work to get it out there to you guys. And I honestly don't know how we would do it without him because he does so much of the technical side because he understands it better than any of us. And I really appreciate them for that.
Yes, thankfully he is a nerdy tech guy, and I love it because otherwise we would be struggling through it trying to get everything
Yeah.
distributed. And he whereas Ray and Victoria and I are all theater people. We love to perform, we love to be in shows, we love to go to shows. My husband really doesn't care if he ever goes to a show again. But he goes because he loves me and he supports us and he comes to see our shows and so
Mhm.
I'm very, very grateful to him for that.
A Christmas Story by Jean Shepherd. Had you ever read these books before?
No. In the movie, you see at the beginning, inspired by the works of Jean Shepherd. And that's all I ever knew. Did I ever look for it? No, I didn't look for it. But I'm so glad that I did read it. So it's is just a fabulous, timeless Christmas story now. A Christmas movie
Yeah.
that I have to see every single year.
Me too.
We'll spoil the movie. We will spoil the book. We will spoil the stage show. We will spoil this for you if you have not seen this movie.
Yeah. Spoilers galore.
Mhm.
Instead of summarizing the books, I want to summarize the movie for anyone who may not be familiar, because this is the story that most people do know. And then we can talk about how the books are different. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I mean, the
Okay.
summary basically is it's Ralphie Parker who is on a quest to get his Red Ryder BB gun. Truly, that's the whole that's what it is in a nutshell.
Yep. Well, okay. We can leave it at that then. But okay. All right. So, when do you remember
No,
first
what
seeing the movie?
it came out in 1982. I did not see it then. I didn't see it until I had to be in high school when I saw it.
Would you have seen it on TV then?
Would they have shown it on TV? I definitely didn't see it in the theater. I don't know. Someone could have rented it. I honestly cannot remember. It's been a
Mhm.
long time though, because that's what we would have had.
Um,
We would have been renting a VHS from Blockbuster or Movie Gallery.
okay. Well, I can't remember the first time I saw that because I was so young. I have been watching it every year for Christmas for as long as I can remember because of
Mhm.
you. So, I do not remember the first time I ever saw this movie. I just remember growing up with it, and it's just seared into my brain. I can quote the whole movie, and I don't get tired of watching it every year. So, what do you think it is about this movie that makes it such a classic that people wanna watch and quote all the time?
The whole storyline is just so funny. There are so many funny parts to it, and it just makes you laugh. It's so enjoyable, and it's so clean, and it's so family oriented, and it's such a feel good story. And I don't know, I never get tired of it. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's the humor more than anything. The humor is it's so good. And it's the performances of
Oh my
everyone
gosh.
in the movie, and it's both of the parents, it's mother and the old man, and it's the 2 little boys, Ralphie and Randy, it's Ralphie's friends, Flick and Schwartz, it's Scut Farkus and his little toady, and it's Miss Shields, it's Santa, it's everyone in this movie brought it when it came to
Even the
performances.
Christmas tree
And
salesman.
yes, him too. It's so good. It's the performances because they take lines that could be throwaway, but they're memorable. And the one that always comes to mind, I don't know why this is the first thing I think of every single time, but it's the dad after the leg lamp breaks. It's the dad shouting, "Not a finger!"
Not a finger.
every time. But also how he says, "You," when he's accusing the mom of having broken the lamp and she says, it was a really ugly lamp, and then he says he wants glue because he wants to try to fix his lamp. She says, "We're out of glue." And he goes, "You used up
You
all the
used
glue
all the
on
glue on
purpose."
purpose.
And I mean, that could have been played so many different ways, but the way both of them play off of each other and say those lines is just memorable, and it's hilarious, and it's like that through the whole movie. So I think it's credit to Gene Shepherd as a writer, but also the performances. What are some of your favorite parts of the movie?
Oh my gosh. So, shout out to the cast. Melinda Dillon is the mom, and she is so good. Now, I never really thought that she looked like she was from the Depression era, her hair always looked very late 70s and 90, late 70s and 80s. Did not look very a depression era, maybe 40s. But other than that, she is amazing. You're right. Every line delivery in this film is spot on. Darren McGavin as the old man is solid. And Peter Billingsley, these kids, oh my goodness, these
Mhm.
kids could act. And there was one part where I wrote it down because it's so impressive. It is when the mother sends Ralphie out to help change the tire, and he goes out and the dad
Mhm.
goes, "What are you doing out here?" And Ralphie, instead of just it's the way you could see as a little boy, he was a little bit afraid of his dad. "Well, mom, Mom told me I could to come out and help." And the dad, "Oh, she did." And then Ralphie, "Yeah, yeah." And his whole demeanor changed when his dad wasn't mad at him, when it was okay.
Mhm.
It is brilliant acting on this little boy's part. All of
Mhm.
those kids were just so natural, and I think that's what makes this so good. They acted their butts off, and they just seemed it was so real.
Mhm.
Incredibly real. I loved it.
Mhm. Yeah, the kids are amazing, and Peter Billingsley just brought it. I love him in the classroom when poor Flick has his tongue stuck to the pole outside because it's frozen, and all the kids at recess leave him there because the bell rang, so they leave their friend stuck to a pole by his tongue, and he's screaming. And Miss Shields, the teacher, she wants to know where Flick is. And all the other students run to the window to look, but Schwartz and Ralphie, his two best friends, just stay in their desks. And Peter Billingsley, who plays Ralphie, the lead, his face when she's asking where Flick is, and he's just looking around, like just looking as innocent as possible, like I don't know. But his excuse for leaving Flick, because Flick is like, no, no, come on, guys, don't leave me. And Ralph just goes, "But the bell rang," and they don't say anything. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, 9-year-olds, man. That is a weird time.
And so a little bit about that poll of I think most people probably know how it's done. They built this pole,
Mhm.
they had a hole in it, and they were sucking air. And so your tongue really would stick there. And I saw an interview, and Peter Billingsley said, "Oh, we all had to give it a go. We all had to try." And so all took turns sticking their tongue to that pole. And then they
It's so funny.
they cut for lunch or something, and Flick was there stuck to the pole. And they're like, "Cut, lunch." And everyone left him there, still stuck to the pole, the little boy playing Flick. And he's going, "Wait, wait,
Poor
come
kid.
back, come
Poor
back."
kid.
Just like in the movie. That was just a little joke they were playing on him, but they said
Poor
it
kid.
was so funny. But that scene,
My goodness.
so good.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of it is. I mean, you've got the classic leg lamp, and, like, to this day, you can drive through any given neighborhood in America and see several houses with a leg lamp in the window because of this movie. And, oh my gosh, if you are listening and you don't know what we're talking about, there is a scene where the dad wins the old man, the dad, Ralph's dad, wins what he keeps calling a major award for sending in what, quizzes that he gets in the newspaper and crossword puzzles, I think, things like that. But anyway, he gets this award. It arrives at his house in a crate that says fragile, which he pronounces as fragile. Another classic quote. And he pulls out this lady's leg, just one leg in a high heel with fishnet stockings. And then he pulls out a big old lampshade with fringe around the bottom of it. And
like a
the
skirt.
whole leg lights up once you plug it in. It's a lamp, and he puts it right in the middle of their window, and of course, this is the Depression era. This was not a common decorative item that people had in their homes, and for the old man, it is so much less about the lamp and if it's an actual good award or good prize or not, and it's so much more for the fact that he won something, and that's all he cares about, is he's so proud that he won. It could have been anything. It just happened to be a leg lamp. But of course, Mother hates it with a passion, and she wants to be done with that leg lamp. And I love how when they go to leave the house, um, she's like, "Oh," the mother's taking a little while, they're waiting for her outside, and she goes in and we see her turn off the leg lamp light, so it goes dark, and she comes outside and she goes, "Oh, didn't wanna waste electricity," and the camera pans away and you see that every other light in the house is on.
So Peter Billingsley said that the director didn't want anyone to see what this leg looked like until it was actually pulled out, so, when they're filming and everything, and so he knew what it was gonna be, but had no clue what it was gonna look like, so when he pulled it out and when the old man pulls it out, it's a leg, and you see Ralphie's response, "Yeah," he's running his hand up. He said, "That was very real reaction," and he said all the boys wanted to touch the leg.
Electric sex.
Electric.
So
He
funny.
said, yeah, his line was, "Only one thing could drag me away from the glow of electric sex, the Little Orphan Annie show."
Oh, and that's what's so
So
cute is,
funny.
yes, like, he is such a little boy. There's only one thing that could tear him away, the Little Orphan Annie show on the radio, because he's got his new decoder, and he can decode the secret message now. Oh my gosh, I love this movie. If there are
So
people who have not
great.
seen this movie, they are gonna have no clue what we're talking about. One of the other big parts of the movie is that Ralph gets something from his aunt every year, and he always hates it. And I think the line in the movie that Gene Shepherd says has something to do with like his aunt had forever lived under the assumption that he was perpetually 5 years old and a girl. And that year
Yeah.
she had made him a head to toe bunny pink bunny footy pajamas with, like, big old bunny ears for his head, and the little feet look like little bunny slippers, and he begs his mom not to have to put it on, and he has to go put it on, and you have the bunny slippers. Because you visited
I
the
have the
house,
bunny
didn't you, where
slippers.
this was filmed?
I did. So this is set in Indiana, home in Indiana, but it was filmed in Cleveland, Ohio, and the house, you can go visit the house, you can see the rooms, and it's a really different experience to watch this movie and to see where they filmed it and just going, "Oh my gosh, I have been in these rooms. I've been there. I've seen that tiny little kitchen. I've seen that backyard and the street where they run down in the beginning. I've been on that porch and it is just so much fun. You go in a little group, but you can spend as long as you want in there. We have pictures holding up the leg lamp. They have one that's and they have the box with fragile, and they have the leg lamp plugged in. They have um the socket in the outlet, and it's just full of wires, which is what we did back in the day. And they have that. They have the Christmas tree. It is just the most fun experience. I made sure to get bunny slippers while I was there. I absolutely love my bunny slippers. So, I
Yes,
was
they're
so
very
tickled to
cute.
do this.
You were wearing them on Christmas morning.
Yes.
There's also I mean, there's some of the other stuff that I love. The whole main storyline, like you said, is about Ralph trying his darndest to get his Red Ryder BB gun, and that's all he wants, and so he's trying to devise ways to inspire his parents to buy him one, and he feels like everything he's trying is failing. He's finding ads for the Red Ryder BB gun and slipping it into their magazines that they read, and he's trying to, slip hints to them, but he has to be really careful about how he goes about it because he's waiting for the classic mom response, which she gives him, which is, "Oh, you'll shoot your eye out." and she just shuts him down. He writes a theme for school. Miss Shields makes him write a theme, and if you actually I never caught this as a kid. It wasn't until I was an adult that once I actually read his theme, oh my gosh, it's so funny because it's terrible writing because he's 9 and he thinks it is the greatest thing he's ever written. He gets a C and she writes in the margin, "You'll shoot your eye out." And then he goes to see Santa and he sees this traumatic Santa and crew. He asks Santa for the Red Ryder BB gun and Santa goes, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid." So he can't catch a break. But on Christmas morning, he does get his beloved Red Ryder BB gun and immediately runs outside and shoots his eye out.
He puts the target on a metal sign. And any adult would go, "No, no, don't do that." It ricochets off that metal sign. And he goes, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I shot my eye out." I want to go back to that Santa, though. I have never in my life seen a Santa like this. You climb up these stairs. He is on like a Mount Doom and it's snowy and you've got these crazy elves dragging the kids up there. Come on, we're about to close. And he's up there. And then
Yeah, and
when
it's
you're
like in a
done
department
talking to
store.
him, yes. And you slide down this red slide to get back to the bottom. And I thought, what kind of a crazy Santa get up is this? And the craziest thing is that is exactly what he described in the book. Exactly.
I know. When I was so excited to get to that part because I thought for sure that whole scene was embellished for the movie because it's funny in the movie. No, that is what Gene Shepherd went through. This traumatizing climb to the North Pole. Like basically they're touching the ceiling of this department store on this quote unquote snowy mountain and they just get shoved down a slide by these begrudging workers, Santa workers. These kids just go screaming down this slide. I couldn't believe that it was word for word in the book, exactly what we see in the movie. It was so funny.
Almost. Instead of elves, though, it was Snow White.
They were Disney
And that was
princesses, or they were just princesses.
so
Oh no, it was a lot of Snow Whites.
Snow.
That's what it was. It was
Yes.
several Snow Whites.
Yes. So weird. Snow White.
Yeah.
Really, really bizarre.
Yes,
But just that
but
that
very
scene,
funny.
there are so many scenes. And then the iconic Oh Fudge scene where they're going home from getting their Christmas tree and they're singing, and then there's a blowout. And so the dad goes out to change it. Ralphie goes to help. And then Ralphie is holding the hubcap with the lug nuts.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
dad hits that cap and all those lug nuts go flying. And Ralphie says, "Oh, fudge." But he didn't say fudge. He
Only
said
I didn't say fudge.
the Mac Daddy of them all. And so
The
of
mother of
course
all
he gets
dirty
his
words.
yes, he gets his mouth washed out with Life Boy. And I wonder if they used Life Boy because it's red. This big, huge honking red bar of soap. You know, because it was a different type of soap in the book. But that Life Boy. And the thing with Ralphie, he has an amazing imagination. So you see through the movie different scenarios that he has that take place. The first one we see is he's going to fight the creeping marauders with his trusty Red Ryder BB gun. And they are literally men in black and white stripe, like little costumes.
And they have bandit masks.
With the black mask.
They look like the Hamburglers.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And I would love to be in a show like this where you can just so overact because Randy's under the table quaking with his hands under the table and it's so fake and it's hysterical, but the parents overact. So funny. And then in the second thing that he sees is the teacher reading his special theme and he gets an A+, and Miss Shields is going crazy over This is the best theme I've ever read in my life. A plus, A plus, A plus. Very funny. A third one that his little imagination runs wild with is that he comes home blind and
Yeah.
he's been blinded by soap poisoning. And the
Poisoning.
parents,
Because he had to
yes,
have his mouth washed out with soap so much.
the parents,
But it's like it's a revenge fantasy because he walks home
yeah,
blind, and his parents wanna know,
yes.
"What was the cause of this?" "It was soap poisoning."
I mean,
Make
so
his parents feel bad.
the
Oh, it's so
acting
funny.
is so good. And then the last one was when he got that C plus because Miss Shield says, "You'll shoot your eye out." He sees her as the Wicked Witch. His mother's there as a jester, which I've never
Yes.
understood, but they're making fun of him. "You'll
Uh-huh.
shoot your eye out." Really funny. His imagination it's
Yep.
off the charts. It's so funny. Love it. Love it.
Yep. It's so funny. And when we've got and gosh, this should not be funny, but it is. I'm sorry. It's so funny. When he has the "Oh fudge" part and his mother's washing his mouth out with soap at home, she asks him, "Okay, where'd you hear that word?" Well, of course, we hear the voiceover saying, "Well, I had heard that from my dad like half a dozen times a day, but I couldn't say that, so I said the first name that came to mind, and he says Schwartz, which is one of his best friends." And she goes straight to the telephone to call up Mrs. Schwartz, his mother, and she tells him what happened, and you hear this overacted lady screaming over the phone. It's hysterical because she's going, "What? What? What? What?" And then you hear poor Schwartz over the phone going, "What I do, mom? Ow, what I do? What I do?"
Well, because you hear her smacking him.
It
So
gets
he's
me
getting a
every
spanking.
time. It sounds like she's beating him with a 2x4, and it should not be funny, but it cracks me up every time. Child abuse is not funny. It's not funny. Oh my gosh. Gets me every time.
It's so good. You can't beat this movie for pure
I
fun.
think I know the quote that we all collectively use more than any other from the movie, though. And I'm pretty sure that all of us as a family, you and dad included, typically the line we always go to is Randy laid there like a slug. It was his only defense.
This is only absolutely. I say that all the time. Randy lay there like a slug. It was his only defense. Yep. So it's
Yeah.
it's great. I highly recommend it if you've never seen it. Oh my goodness. Please look for it. They normally have a marathon at Christmas time where it's running 24 hours a day, just over and over and over again. It is so good. And the author of the book, Gene Shepard, he is the narrator, the grown up Ralphie in
Mhm.
the movie. And then the director is Bob Clark. And
Mhm.
Bob Clark has a cameo in the movie when the dad has set up the leg lamp and he wants to go outside and see it. His neighbor comes up, "Oh, what you got there?" That is Bob Clark. And so that is his little cameo moment in the
That's the
film.
director? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow. I had no idea. That
yeah.
is funny.
They have a bench. It's across the street from the house, and it says it's the Bob Clark cameo bench. And it actually has a picture of him from in the movie.
Aw. Oh, that's cute. Well, today I felt like the mother from A Christmas Story because my 2-year-old wanted to go out in the snow, and her dad was out there shoveling. So I was like, "Well, if you wanna go out with daddy, okay, but I gotta get you I've gotta get you dressed." And I was just putting her in, like, layer after layer of clothes, and then her snow bibs, and then her coat, and then her mittens, and then her hat, and her scarf, and her snow boots. And as I'm getting her ready, like, all that I could keep thinking was, like, "I'm getting her ready for extended deep sea diving." And, of course, I was thinking about this movie because poor Randy just gets he looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man by the time she's done with him, getting him ready to go out for school. And of course, you get the famous, "I can't put my arms down." So this poor little kid is running around with his arms stuck straight out at his sides because he's so covered in layers, he can't put his arms down. And I felt like that today when I bundled up my daughter. So let's talk the books, if you're good with that. Yeah, so how are these books structured that maybe people who haven't read them wouldn't expect having seen the movie?
It is very interesting. These are a bunch of short stories. Whoever
Mhm.
created this movie and took all the little pieces from the majority is in God We Trust, and then there's just a little bit in Wanda Hickey's Night of Golden Memories. They did an incredible job of pulling out just a wonderful story to make up this Christmas Story. Gene Shepard did help write the screenplay for the movie, and of course, he narrated it, and so that was good. But I was really surprised by what was not in here. The one
Mhm.
thing that bothered me about the books is you never knew how old Ralphie was. He could be a teenager sometimes. He could be 7 years old at another time, and
Mhm.
each story was different. You're going, "Wait a minute, how old is he?" It
Yeah,
was
not
that
chronological
really
at all.
at all. The father and mother, they are never named. We do get Ralphie.
Yeah, they're just
We
mother and the
do
old man.
g yeah, and in this book, their last name is Parker. In this book, their last name was Shepherd, and I was like, "Now wait a minute, that's a typo." Did you catch that too?
No, because I haven't read Wanda Hickey's.
Oh,
I only
yeah.
read In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. I have not read Wanda Hickey's yet.
You very little of this is
Do
in
you
the
think it was
movie,
actually a
very
typo?
little. It had to be. Maybe he forgot that he gave them Parker, the last name Parker in this one. I don't know. I was so surprised. I
Hmm.
don't even know if I wrote down the page number, but I was so surprised that said his name was Shepherd. It's like, what? Wait a minute. His name is
Well,
Parker.
what I saw that reminds me of the movie, at least just looking at the chapter titles of Wanda Hickey's Night of Golden Memories and Other Disasters, is one of the chapters is called The Grandstand Passion Play of Delbert and the Bumpus Hounds. Of course, the Bumpus Hounds are featured quite a bit in the movie. And then Scut
Yes.
Farkus and the Murderous Mariah. And Scut Farkus is the name of the bully in the movie. But what's interesting is that was not the bully. The scene that we
No.
get where Ralphie is beating up Scut Farkus, that's not how it happens in God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. That is a different bully. It's actually the name of the toady, the bully's toady in the movie. But where is
Grover
he?
Dill.
Grover
Grover Dill.
Dill. Grover
Mhm.
Dill and the Tasmanian Devil. And so he does beat up the bully in the book, but it's Grover Dill that he's beating up, not Scut Farkus. So I'd be
Is
really curious to see what
I
Scut
thought that
Farkus is like in the sequel.
I mean, because Grover Dill, you hear a little bit more about Scut in the sequel, but it's Grover Dill was the big bully. But in the
Yeah,
movie,
he
it
was
was
the guy.
Scut and Grover was his little crony. Yeah, that was so
Mhm,
funny how they changed that. So that's a big
mhm.
difference. So I wrote, this was a note that I wrote. Ever wonder what happened to Ralphie Flick and Schwartz when they grew up? Read this book. So Ralphie, we learn right away, he's a journalist in New York. He has a Rolex.
Mhm.
He's doing very, very well. We see him come to town. He goes to a bar. It's Flick's. And he runs his deceased
Yep.
father's bar. We never hear anything at
Yes.
all. Spoiler alert. We learn, like on the last page of the book, somewhere very near the end, Schwartz was killed in
I
the
have it
war.
marked because my jaw dropped, and I
Me
have it
too.
right here on page 263. Quote, I turned back to Flick, who was checking the cash register. Too bad Schwartz couldn't have been here, I said. Flick grunted, busy with his change counting. We both knew that Schwartz had been shot down over Italy. They never found him. My jaw
Same
dropped, and
exact
I immediately
page.
ran for my Post-it notes. Yeah,
I know. And literally, y'all, it's the end of the book.
yeah.
There's one page
They're
left.
saying goodbye.
And
They've spent the whole day
that's
together,
where
and that's when we find out.
and so they spend a day together at Flick's bar, and it reminisces back to these stories of their childhood. A lot of it is Ralphie thinking back because we said in the movie he has this great imagination. We see him going
Mhm.
back and thinking back to his childhood and all of the stuff that they got into. And course, the leg lamp is in here,
Mhm.
but the leg lamp stays up for months in the book. Months.
Well, yeah, I think that's a really good point, is that, yes, these are all Ralph's memories or Gene Shepherd's memories
Mhm.
that he put in
Right.
through his character, Ralphie. As he's spending the day with Flick, we switch back and forth between him being in Flick's bar, reminiscing with Flick, and then being reminded of something, so we go back to another memory, but he jumps
Yeah.
around throughout his whole upbringing, and just being back and home in Indiana sparks all of these memories, and that's one thing that I think is really interesting about these 2 books. They're not Christmas stories.
No.
The movie is called A Christmas Story. We're taking one of his memories that was set at Christmas time, and then taking a whole conglomeration of his other memories and putting them into this one compact story around him at 9 years old. But a lot of the
So
stories
good.
take place at different points in his life. It's done really well. You'd
And
never
so if
know.
anyone wants right, if anyone doesn't want to read these 2 books, you can pick up A Christmas Story. And what are, these are all of the stories that they based the movie on. And they drew from the 2 books. And so I have all 3. I will never get rid of these books. A lot of times I read books, most of the time I read books, I get rid of them. It has to be something very special for me to hold on to a book. This is special simply because I adore this movie so much. But yeah,
Mhm.
I love it.
Me too.
I was so sad to learn about Schwartz. That really
Yeah.
tore me up. And yeah, it was such a shock because the whole time I keep thinking, "Where is Schwartz? Why don't they bring up Schwartz? Why aren't they talking about him?" He
The,
wasn't
um,
there.
the books do a much better job of setting the scene for the Depression. So, yes,
Yes.
the movie is set in the Depression era, but you don't really get the sense of them living in the Depression. But in the books, for him, that was just his childhood. He's just growing up, and what everyone called the Depression, he just sees as normal. But it was neat because every now and then he would refer to the depression, and it was like, "Oh, that's just how the depression was." And it's really interesting to see those things come up because what Gene Shepherd is incredible at is descriptive writing. And the way he uses the sights, the sounds, the items and objects, the feeling of living in that time, he describes it so well, you can put yourself there. And I actually had my son, my 12-year-old, read one of the very, very first paragraphs, or sorry, I actually read it to him. I'll read this paragraph because this is a fantastic example of descriptive writing. So my son had no other context. He didn't know what I was reading. I just read this paragraph. Quote, inside, I instantly saw the place had changed little. The bar was longer, the jukebox bigger, there was a color TV hanging from the wall, but the air was as gamey and rich as ever, if not more so. A thick oleo of dried beer suds, fermenting bar rags, sweaty overalls, and urinal deodorants. I breathed in a deep gulp to clear my brain, kicked some snow off my Italian shoes, and sat down at one of the stools near the window. End quote. Fantastic setting of a scene right there. And I asked my son, what did he notice? What can he learn about this person, where he is, what's going on, how he's feeling just from that paragraph? And my son was able to point out, like, well, he's in a bar, sounds like he's been there before, but it's been a long time. All the smells that are described are really gross smells, but he takes a big gulp of it and it clears his head. So it's something familiar to him. And he's wearing Italian shoes, which sounds fancy. So I'm guessing what he does now, he makes a lot of money. I was like, you got it. So even for a 12-year-old boy, he totally understood the setting. Totally got
I
it. And
wrote as
it's such good writing.
one of my notes was all caps, very descriptive writing. I don't think I've ever read a book like this. Every sentence, there there are so many adjectives in this book. It is, you know exactly what's going on, but it is such a, it's rich. It's so rich,
Mhm.
and his writing is so good. He was a radio personality as well, Gene Shepherd was. So he just
Mhm.
had this fabulous sense of humor, and he was witty and just you just want to listen. You want to read these words. It's so good. I just thoroughly
Mhm.
enjoyed reading this book. And there were so many dated references. I only took a note of a few of them. Dr. Denton's sleepers. Simon is. Sandy Andy, a flit gun. Zeppelin. I do know what a Zeppelin
Simon
is.
Eyes.
Oh, Simon
Simon
Eyes.
Eyes.
There you go. Number 3 erector set, Castoria. Knee High, which I do know. Blatz, which I think may be a beer. But there's so many dated references. But I too mentioned, I wrote it down. I took notes on my phone this time. And I said, let me find it. Excellent look at life during the Depression.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Without it
It's
being
really good.
focused on the depression, like, because you could argue The American Girl, Kit
Oh, yeah.
Kittredge, and those books are an excellent look at life during the Depression too, but it's all focused on the Depression. Whereas this is just
Mhm.
like this is like how it was for
Life.
your dad to grow up, you know? Now he was much
Mhm,
younger, but it was like your dad and our Uncle Chester, what it was like for them to be
mhm,
kids during this time. To them, it was normal life. But
yeah.
there was something that really stood out to me. It was towards the end. I said it was a surprisingly sobering chapter. So, chapter 27, he's talking to Flick again. So, we're back in Flick's bar. He asks Flick, "Do you ever get nervous when you look at cash? Like you figure it's going to all of a sudden disappear?" I smoothed out a beer soaked five. He leaned forward confidentially and spoke in a low voice to me. "Don't tell anybody. It is. You got that same fear too?" And so then we go into the next chapter where he talks about watching a neighbor have their all of their entire belongings in their home auctioned off just to people who he calls vultures, strangers. They're not there to make friends, so they don't talk to anybody. And they go and buy all of their neighbors' belongings, and they never see their neighbor again, which includes their little boy who's one of their friends. They never see him
I
again.
wrote that down. Chapter 28, The Assessor. So I put,
Yes.
really, was there such a person? I looked this up. There really was. At this time, someone would come in, assess your home and your items to decide
All of
how
your
much,
belongings.
all of your belongings to decide how much you should be taxed. And so they wanted to downplay everything they had. So
Mhm.
Ralphie's parents, oh, we have this horrible furnace and the refrigerator doesn't work half the time. And they downplayed, they made everything sound like it was garbage in their home.
Mhm.
And then their neighbors, they were
Mhm.
assessed. The tax was so high, they could not pay it. And they came in and sold all their stuff. That was shocking to me. So that was not a
Mhm.
humorous look at life during this time. It was a
No.
very real look at
Mhm.
what could happen. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine someone coming in my home and saying, "Oh, how much is that? What's that worth?" And trying to decide what my clothes are worth or whatever.
Yeah, I think one of his best quotes in this was, "There was a terrible fear that somehow somebody would get the impression that we lived like human beings." I mean, yeah, I said this
Tough
was a very
time.
sobering chapter.
It was.
Uh-huh.
I loved the part
Yeah.
in chapter 30. There was Leopold Doppler, and he was a man, he had movie dish night, and it was a deluxe dinnerware set. And when you came on movie dish night, you would get a piece of pottery to go with your dishes. And so I don't know, there were
Mhm.
112 pieces of this dishware set. And so if you came 112 weeks in a row, you could have the entire set. And people would stand in line and get their gravy boat, or they would get their beautiful casserole dish, all of this
Mhm.
stuff. And so I actually looked this up. It was a Pearline Deluxe, one dish to each woman who went to this movie. But sadly, the poor
Mhm.
man who was doing this ran out of, they weren't getting the shipments in. And so then he kept giving IOUs, or they would get 5 different gravy boats, and so they never
The
ended up with
gravy
this whole set.
boats.
I mean, it was funny,
And
and
so
yet it was kind of sad.
they chuck the gravy boats at him.
Yes. I felt bad for that poor
It just
man, but I wrote down they had an Orpheum Wurlitzer organ that was played before the movie. Someone would come out and they would play.
Mhm.
Victoria, we have seen a Wurlitzer organ played. Do you remember? It was in Richmond, Virginia.
No, I don't.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you mean when I
The
was what,
bird
6?
we lived in the area until you were
I
what?
do not remember.
So, the Bird Theater in Richmond has a
I remember the
Wurlitzer
Bird Theater.
organ.
I
So
do
you've
remember that
seen it
theater.
then. The organ
Mhm.
comes up out of at the theater at the Bird. It comes up out of the ground, and there's a man there, he would play before the movie, and then the organ would lower and you'd watch the movie. And so that's how I pictured that. We have experienced what they
Oh.
did back then.
That's funny because I don't remember that. I have one memory from the bird and one memory only, and it was seeing Shrek for the first time. Yep.
I guarantee we went when the organ would be played because that's the best time to go. And it was only on certain nights,
That's
like
funny
Friday
because
nights. Yeah.
that's not what stands out to me. What stands out is getting to see the masterpiece Shrek for the first time as a child. That's what I cared about.
So that was really neat. I did
There
find
was
it interesting that Miss Shields wasn't his teacher. Were you going to bring that up? Her name
Yeah,
was
she was.
Miss Iona. The teacher that we start with that he talks about the most is Miss Iona Pearl Bodkin. Miss Shields was brought
He
up
talks about
only.
several. So Miss Shields is the teacher that he has who isn't fazed by anything, and she's mainly mentioned in the Candy chapter where,
Yes.
they're all obsessed with wax teeth, and they think they're just the
Yes.
funniest kids ever, and all she does is hold out he describes it as her claw. She holds out her claw, and they just all go and dump their wax teeth in her hand, and she throws it in a drawer full of all of the little pranks and toys and distractions that they all had, which we see in the movie. That all happens in the movie. But that's when he talks about Miss Shields and how they always think they're getting one over on her, but she is not phased one bit. She's seen it all.
But she wasn't even mentioned until chapter 19. So she was
Yeah.
the second grade teacher.
Mhm.
But the teacher we see the most of in this book is Miss Iona Pearl Botkin. And she's never
Mhm.
even mentioned in the movie, but Miss
Well,
Shields,
he
yes.
mentions a few because we also
Oh,
get
yes, he
Miss Breyfogle, and that chapter cracked me up. And the chapter is Miss Breyfogle and the Frightening Case of the Speckle-Throated Cuckold. That chapter had me laughing so hard because poor Ralph is in love with his teacher, and he's like, "We are meant to be," and she just doesn't see it, or she's just keeping it to herself, and so he gets the opportunity to write a book report, and he's like, "I'm gonna write the best book report ever," but the book has to impress her, so he's on the hunt for a bigger book with lots of words that he doesn't understand because he knows that that's what will impress her, and he finds a book in his parents' bedroom on his mother's side of the room. He has no idea what this book is. It Oh my gosh, this killed me. I have to look it up. Um, so the book that he gets from his mother's room is Boccaccio's Decameron. He reads it from
and it
cover to cover in one sitting and puts it back, and he has no idea what's going on. All he knows is the story of the young gardener who goes to live at an abbey and all the nuns wanna sleep with him, but he does also sees the word cuckold and he thinks it's a type of bird, and so he talks about how it's a bird. He turns in his book report and his teacher asks him to stay after class, and he's like, "This is it. She knows she's in love. I've got her now." And she's like, "Ralphie." did you actually read this book? And he's like, yeah, I read the whole thing. She finally starts getting the truth from him that he confesses that he got it from his parents' room and that they didn't know that he read it. And she's like, did you think the book was funny? He was like, no. She's like, okay. And she's like, "Did you understand the book?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah." She gets a sense of what's going on here. She's like, "How about you promise me never to read books from your parents' bedroom ever again, and I promise not to send a note home with you." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, sounds good." Oh my gosh, that chapter killed me.
Yeah, there were very, very, very funny things in here. That was in 6th grade that he did that. I wrote down page numbers for
Oh,
things that
6th
I
grade.
thought were great.
Okay.
Yes, this is a wonderful, wonderful description. So they go to candy store at Pulaski's, and you hear about the Pulaski's in the movie just very, very
Mhm.
briefly. But it talks about I love this description of a piece of candy, and I don't want to say what it is yet, but each layer is slightly different and a subtly different shade of coloration from the one that preceded it. After the initial black or red coating had been sucked off, had disappeared, it would emerge dead white. And then a few moments later, it changed imperceptibly to a dull, mottled brown with overtones of green, followed by a rich brick red vein. Next, perhaps, a mocking, impudent onion color, white again, and then a somber, morose, purplish gray, and on down layer after layer, color after color, until finally, at about the size of a tiny French pea, it would crumble and reward the aficionado with a minute seed which crunched and then disappeared. What's it describing? I could totally picture it.
A
The
jawbreaker,
jawbreaker.
namely the black one,
Because
a
it
black
goes from
jawbreaker.
color to color to color, and it does turn white between colors. I mean, the description is so good. The Jawbreaker, a fitting parable of life itself, infinitely varied, sweet, and always receding until finally only the seed. Oh my goodness, his writing is so
Yeah, that chapter was so
good.
funny to me. It is good. That chapter, I felt so bad for kids back then because their candy was terrible. They had the worst candy.
But they didn't know it back then.
The wax bottles and the
Yes.
jawbreakers and the licorice, um, pipes. This candy is horrible. I had to note this, and, like, I think this is the last thing that I really wanted to note, but this I had to mark specially because it's a reference to my favorite book of all time, and I don't see references to it very
I
often, so
marked
I
it
had to note it.
too.
You noted it too, I see your face. You caught it. So it's on page
I
176. I don't remember what chapter.
Yep.
Chapter 22. It's after he drives his dad's car without permission and he scrapes the back bumper and he's hiding. He feels so guilty and he's just waiting for his dad to come down on him. But he says, I was keeping my mouth shut and I was sweating. A 13-year-old Raskolnikov, sizzling with guilt, fighting against the urge to blurt out, Stop the car! Look at the left rear fender! I did it! I am guilty! And that is a reference, of course, to Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. The best book ever.
Oh my word. When I read that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is fantastic." Yes, his writing is I
Yeah.
think that's the last one that I had too, and but I did write down some things. Let's see. On in chapter 12, they were actually the World's Fair was being built right out of the land of Oz, which we've already talked about. And
Yep.
there was a thing called it was the World's Fair was called A Century of Progress in 1933 and 34, and Judy Garland actually performed there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so there
That's
was a
awesome.
magic mountain that was there, and o only kids under 10 were allowed, so Ralphie was very little here, and I think we learned he was, like, 5 or 6, but this was at the World's Fair. There's just so much in here
And
that's so
it's another
so
slide
good,
that
and
traumatizes children.
yes, yes, a slide. There's so much, Little Orphan Annie. Oh, and the Little Orphan Annie, when he gets his decoder pin in the movie, he decodes it. It wasn't in the book, but it was, be sure to drink your Ovaltine. And Ovaltine was like a quick mix. It was a chocolate powdered mix that you stir in milk to make like a chocolate milk. Well, in the
Mhm.
book, his family didn't drink Ovaltine, and in order to get this decoder pin, you had to send in silver inner seals to get this decoder pin from the
Mhm.
Ovaltine, and he would find them by kicking cans
Mhm.
just around on the ground and stuff,
Mhm.
and he would get them, and he collected them, and then he was able to get
Yeah.
his secret decoder pin.
He's like, "We don't live in an Ovaltine neighborhood. No one in my neighborhood drinks Ovaltine."
Yep, and he got it and was able to get his pin.
It's
Well, we
so
also see
cute.
Ralphie go on a blind date. 14 years old, blind date. So there's a lot in this book that I think that people would really enjoy. And the second one, Wanda Hickey's, this is definitely more of
From
Ralphie's
Wanda Hickey's
teenage
Night
years.
of Golden Memories.
Mhm. You see him going on dates and learning more about the girls he likes and stuff like that. And you see some Scott Farkus is the number one thug in that one. The Bumpuses had moved out from next door, and so that was good. And a big difference was in the movie, you see the turkey. Old man loves turkey. He wanted that turkey at Christmas, and he had some more time to cook. The mom had it out on the table. All of a sudden, you hear all this barking, and the Bumpus's dogs come running in, tear that turkey up, eat it up, and they run out and they break the screen door, and they're left with no turkey. They were devastated, so they end up going out to a Chinese restaurant for Christmas dinner. Well, in Wanda Hickey's Night of what is it called? Night of Golden Memories and Other
Golden
Disasters.
Memories and Other Disasters.
Yes. In that book, it wasn't turkey. It was at Easter time, and it was a ham. And so the Bumpus hounds come in, and they get that
Mm.
ham, and it was Easter time. And so
Oh.
that was very different. So he went ape over ham. And let's see, that's
Mhm.
Randy would play. He would eat like a little pig in that. And this is where we see the flat
Mhm.
tire. It's in the Wanda Hickey book. However, he doesn't
Oh.
say, "Oh, fudge." Does not say
Does
it.
he say anything?
And so no,
Oh.
they just changed the tire. Yeah, it's very interesting the things that are
Hmm.
in the movie that are not in the books.
There was one chapter that, oh my gosh, it almost made me cringe to read it because it was all focused on obsession with the 4th of July and fireworks and all the different types of fireworks and the best fireworks and like what a spectacle it was and that it was just a crazy wild time and kids just loved it. I never experienced 4th of Julys like that until moving to the Midwest. I did not know what a big deal it was to go to all the fireworks tents and buy your fireworks for the year, and, like, people will spend thousands of dollars on fireworks every year just to light them off at home, like, in their neighborhood. It is the day I dread every year. I do not enjoy it one little bit. Neither does my toddler, and neither do my cats. So, my boys, they just love it. They go gaga over fireworks, but this whole chapter, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the family I married into. This is what everyone here does. They go insane over fireworks." It was something I never grew up with and was, like, not familiar with.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with it, and they're illegal.
We
Hey,
would go see fireworks. Like, we would go watch a great big fireworks show and have a good time, and we would do sparklers and poppers at home, and that was about it, and I loved it, that was fine. And he talks about in the book, he talks about the sparkler people are, like, the boring people who
that's
only wanna light
us.
sparklers. Like, that's me.
That's great. So
So,
funny.
Before we talk about the stage show, have you seen either of the sequels that came after the movie A Christmas Story? There's A Christmas Story 2, and then there's the newer one.
So I saw A Christmas Story 2. It doesn't even compare.
You did? A Christmas Story Christmas is the newest one. So there's A Christmas Story, A Christmas Story 2, and A Christmas Story Christmas. And A Christmas Story 2 came out 2012.
Yeah, Christmas Story 2 does not include any of the original cast. It just doesn't even compare to the original story. I have seen the newest one because Peter Billingsley is in it, and he's the dad. He's the old man
Mhm.
now. And I
Mhm.
rather enjoyed it. I want to see it again. I've only seen it one time, so I can't remember a whole lot
Mhm.
about it. One thing that I really liked about the movie is when Ralphie would break that fourth wall, and he'd look directly at the camera like, and he does
Mhm.
it in this sequel as an adult, and I'm like, "Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, it's classic Ralphie breaking the
Yeah.
fourth wall, looking right at us going,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it."
Yes. So I remember seeing the A Christmas Story 2 from 2012 several years ago, and just it's not anything to write home about. It's just it doesn't capture the same feeling as the original movie. Daniel Stern as the old man is great, but he's Daniel Stern. It's really hard to see him as anybody other than Marv from Home Alone. There's only one thing I even really remember about the movie, and I was reminded of it as I read In God We Trust, because he is trying to learn how to drive the car. His dad will let him try to drive the car from time to time, and then he does take the car out without his dad's permission. That is what's in the sequel, A Christmas Story 2.
Mhm,
So there is that story, but I don't remember anything else from it. I just
mm-mm.
didn't enjoy it as much. A Christmas Story Christmas that came out in 2022, however, with Peter Billingsley, with the original Flick and Schwartz actors. That one, oh, with the original Scott Farkus. I love that sequel. Does it have the same nostalgia as the original? No, of course not, but really plays on the nostalgia, which I think is effective. We do get to see, the original Ralphie, the original Randy, friends and the bully, all of those actors came back. We have a different mom and we don't have the old man. And the old man, the actor, had passed away. And this is a big, big spoiler. The movie starts with Ralphie getting a phone call from his mom, and I think his voiceover says, like, "It's the phone call no child ever wants to get. It's the one you dread." And so they go home, and it's basically they're spending Christmas with his mom for the first time without his dad. And so much of it is focused on how much his dad loved Christmas. And so you get all those callbacks to the original movie, and they've got his dad's picture on the wall, and they have that his dad had already gone out and bought a bunch of Christmas presents for the grandkids, and he was so looking forward to Christmas. Oh my gosh. I mean, this movie makes me cry, where the other one makes me laugh. And this one also makes me laugh. I think there's some really funny stuff, like the whole crazy sledding scene. Do you remember that scene where these adults are going up on
No.
this, like, condemned ski jump, basically, and sledding down it? It's crazy. They've got the Christmas shopping where he sends his kids off to go see Santa, and in the
Mhm.
meantime, we see it from his adult perspective, where now he's doing the mad rush to buy all the Christmas presents while the kids are distracted. So, they're just some really cute things. We've got the mom forcing them all to hide from Christmas carolers because she hates them. There's some really cute stuff that does make me laugh. I think it's done really well, even if it's not, the same as the original. What I like that we get from In God We Trust is that Flick owns a bar, and Ralphie goes and visits Flick at the bar, and they spend time there, but we also get Schwartz. Schwartz is there in this movie, and I'm glad he is, 'cause, it's really sad that we actually, in reality, lost Schwartz. Um
Yeah. Yeah. There was a cute little interview because 'cause I'm a nerd, I like all that little stuff, and they were interviewing the actor who played Schwartz, and, he said this was for the first movie, and he said that he loved making this movie, and he went to go see Santa even though he's Jewish. He was like, "Hey, I know I'm Jewish, but hey, can you hook me up?"
Aw, that's so cute. That's
Oh.
adorable.
But yeah, they were such good friends and they got along really well.
So that's it for the movies for sure. Now we can talk stage. Do you wanna start with Broadway musical
Yeah.
or local play?
Well, okay, so we can talk about the Broadway musical. I have not seen this. I started watching a version of the musical on YouTube. I think it may be Community Theater. It was okay. So I didn't have the desire to continue watching it, so I didn't get too far into it. I got a couple of songs into it.
Hmm.
The songs didn't make me want to stay. And so then I saw that there was a video from the Tonys. I thought, "Oh,
Mhm,
great. I will watch professional actors do something." One
mhm.
song. It has to be the best song in the entire show because I did go back and I listened to the show. The song that I loved, it was Miss Shields, and it's her
Oh.
song, and it's called "You'll Shoot Your Eye Out." It was so funny with a big tap number. It was great. I loved
Cute.
it. So that's on the Tonys. So that's on YouTube. And then I found where Jane Krakowski played Miss Shields in
Jane Krakowski?
A Christmas Story, a musical live. I didn't know they did a live one.
What? Me either.
So she's Miss Shields. She gets to do this tap and dance number.
I love her. I love her
I
so much. For people who don't know Jane Krakowski, she's a big Broadway star, but you would know her from, The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Well, and I also know her from Ally McBeal. That's where I first saw
Or
her.
Ally
That's
McBeal. Yeah.
so
Kinda
that
depends on
that
your age.
ages me. Yes. So it was the musical. The musical itself, I don't think was very successful. It ran from November 19th, 2012 to December 30th, 2012. That's it.
Mm. Oh, okay.
So I don't even know who was in it. Found a recording. Tom Wopat was the adult Ralphie, the narrator. And it's like, what? Tom Wopat? But he wasn't in the Broadway show. So I'm like, what?
Who's
Why
Tom
is he?
Wopat?
Oh, you don't know. So
Who's
he's a
that?
Broadway actor. People my age will know him as I think he was Luke Duke in The Dukes of Hazzard. He was one of the brothers, Bo or Luke. I never watched
Oh,
Dukes of Hazzard.
he's in Dukes of Hazzard.
Well, Tom Wopat is he's a
Okay.
big Broadway star. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he got to sing in it or not. And then I didn't write down her name. She played the mom. It was the lady who is Megara in Hercules.
Susan Egan.
Nope, it's not Susan then. Oh,
Okay,
maybe
never mind,
she's,
not Susan Egan. Okay.
okay, maybe she's in who's Belle?
Hold on. I could have told you if you hadn't asked, because that's exactly what I thought. I was like, she must be
Liz
thinking Belle.
Calloway. Liz Calloway.
Oh, Liz Calloway. Okay, I know Liz Calloway,
Who's she? Is she
but
Belle?
that's not Belle.
Who's Liz Calloway?
Paige O'Hara is Belle.
Liz Calloway. Who
She's the
was
Anastasia singer. She's Anastasia.
she is?
Yes. So she's Anastasia, and she was the Swan Princess. She was Odette for all the Swan Princess people. But of course, she's
Okay.
mostly known for Broadway, her Broadway stuff.
Yes, she is. Anyway, she plays the mom. I like her. And I didn't know who the other people were, but my goodness, the music was just okay to me. The best song is definitely
Mhm.
Miss Shields. Her song was so much fun. But in one song that the mother sings, she gives the old man a name.
Really? What's his name?
We now have a name. I was shocked. His name is Frank.
Frank. That's fitting. That makes sense. He's a Frank.
I was shocked. I was like, he has a name?
Frank! Who's Frank? You're the old man. What are you talking about? I, the old man, take thee, mother.
So I really would like to find A Christmas Story, a musical live. I want to find that and watch
Yes.
that.
Me too. So,
See how
just
maybe
as an aside.
uh-huh.
Oh, go ahead. Maybe what?
Maybe that's where Tom Wopat is part of it. Maybe that was from that. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't even know they did it live. So, yes, I would love to see
Me
that. And
either.
I love Jane Krakowski. But just as an aside, Liz Callaway, for her Broadway stuff, so we know her as Anastasia, at least just her singing voice, because of course Meg Ryan was the speaking voice of
Mhm.
Anastasia. Liz Callaway, I know her best from Miss Saigon. She was the original Ellen, and oh my gosh, her voice. Ugh, it's disgustingly beautiful. But she was Grisabella for 5 years in Cats.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Uh-huh. This
Okay.
woman can sing her little booty
Oh,
off.
she can sing. Definitely.
She's so good.
You know, it just goes to show it doesn't matter how good you are. If the show is not a good show, you can't keep it afloat. And to me, I love Kristen Chenoweth, but her show
Mm,
was a flop. The
Queen of
Queen of
Versailles.
Versailles. Yeah. I hate that because it goes to show it doesn't matter how good you are. If the show itself is
Yeah.
not good, you
And
can't
it
keep
was
it
a
afloat.
Kristen Chenoweth, Stephen Schwartz show
Yes.
too.
Right.
Woof.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But also, I mean, we've talked about this in the past, Carrie. I mean,
Yeah.
you had frickin' Betty Buckley.
Right.
And
Yeah.
um and and then later we had, oh, I'm gonna do it again. I can't do it again. Forget it. I'm not even gonna try to say her name because I'm gonna get it
Okay.
mixed up again. Not Marley Matlin, tell you that. But anyway, you have Betty Buckley and
Yeah. Yeah.
and and
Mhm.
that show did not do well. But A Christmas Story, for what I've gleaned, I have not listened to the music or anything. From what I've gleaned is that it tends to be a more like community theater or local theater performance um draw for smaller
It's
communities
nostalgic.
because yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm not surprised it wasn't big on Broadway, but that it does really well on the community theater scene. So the musical, people like it, they enjoy it, they have a good time. I don't think anyone is really raving about the music itself, the songs, and that they're just more purely for entertainment, not even really to drive the story. And that what people really are there for are, the leg lamp and the bunny pajamas and the Red Ryder BB gun and all of Ralphie's, daydreams. So that's what draws people in, and then the music is just a nice fun addition.
It was interesting in the book that I forgot to mention that the aunt doesn't make him a full-on bunny costume. She only makes the slippers, but they
Mhm,
turned it into that
mhm.
full bunny costume for the movie, which is
I'm
perfect.
so glad they did
Perfect.
because it's so good. Him
Now
looking
I love my
miserable in that
slippers. Yes.
bunny costume and the dad calling him a deranged Easter bunny. Oh, it's too
Uh-huh.
good.
A pink nightmare. He
It's
looks like a
so good.
deranged Easter bunny.
He
He
looks
looks like
like
a pink
a pink
nightmare.
nightmare. Oh, it's so
Okay, so
good.
the stage this is also a play. It's not only a musical,
Mhm.
it is a play. And Victoria played Mother in the play.
I was Mother. I am Mother. In the adaptation by Philip Grecian, who was a local Topekan. Oh my gosh, it was so cool reading the book and seeing just how much word for word was pulled from the book. It's a great
Isn't that the truth?
combination of things that you read in the book, but you don't get from the movie, along with the movie.
Mhm.
So it's all still centered around Christmas time, the same plot with the Red Ryder BB gun. It's that story, but we get a lot more backstory that's lifted from the book, which I really think is cool, especially having known the play and done the play, reading some of that stuff in the book was neat because there is a grown-up Ralph retelling the story just like in the movie. So we have these voiceovers and it's so effective. It's so neat to have this guy sort of narrating you as you go along, acting out the show. One of the things that really stands out about the story is Gene Shepherd himself, his writing and his voice. And it's his descriptive writing that it helps paint the picture even though you're watching it in a movie or on stage. It's his words that really
Mhm.
bring you there. and put you in the story. So getting to have that in both the movie and this play, I loved. I was so excited to play Mother. This was one I was really looking forward to. So when auditions came up, I dragged my husband and son to auditions. Luckily, all 3 of us were cast, and we did it at the Columbian Theater in Wamego in, okay, let's see, it had to be 2022, the end of 2022. And at auditions, I did have to, I just pulled the director aside and I was like, "Just so you know, if you do consider casting me, I just need you to know that by the time we do the show, I'm gonna be about 7 months pregnant." Because at that point, you couldn't really tell, I wasn't really showing, but I was pregnant with our daughter at the time. So I just told him, I was like, "Just a heads up, because that will affect the show." There's no hiding it at that point. But luckily, that didn't stop him, he cast me, and so I was running around and doing all kinds of crazy stuff on this stage, 7 months pregnant, barely fitting into my costume, and it was wonderful. I had a great time. I loved getting to do it with my husband and our oldest.
'Cause your
It was the
husband was
first
old
time the 3 of
man.
us. Yeah, he was the old man. So we were husband and
Right.
wife, and our son was just cast as, like, he was a little extra. There was no part for him, so they just sort of made one, which was really sweet. It was so that he could be a part of it with his mom and his dad, and what's great is he showed up to rehearsals, and he brought it, and he brought his little performance, and he did what he was told to do, and he took direction well, and so they kept sort of turning him into this character, and then they also added him in as this character, and then he got to be this character. And the Santa scene had no elves. Well, they threw him in as an elf, and he loved getting to do that. And so they added him into so many scenes where he's just these random little characters, and they ended up giving him lines too. So I think it just goes to show, when you show up and you have a good attitude and you just do what you're told to do and you follow direction and you're part of the community, it opens doors for you. Like, yes, sometimes you have to pay
Mhm.
your dues and you have to play the part nobody wants to play. It's okay. You pay your dues. And directors and other crew members, they pay attention and they remember. So he did a great job with that, and it was a delight to get to do the show with him too. But I was a very pregnant mother doing this show. We had our little Ralphie and our Randy, and I loved doing the scene where I had to bundle up Randy to go out in the cold, because I'm just acting out the bundling part while our actor who is grown up Ralph is doing the voiceover for it. So he's talking about, like getting ready for extended deep sea diving. And I am spinning this child and wrapping a scarf around his whole head at the same time. This poor kid could barely see by the time he had to stumble off stage. Oh my gosh, I loved doing that scene. But my favorite scene to do, man, gosh, there were so many good ones. Okay. My favorite one was having to be on the phone with Mrs. Schwartz and tell her about Ralphie saying, "Oh, fudge," and where he heard it from, because he says Schwartz. I loved doing that scene, and I loved breaking the leg lamp. Because getting to do that
Ah,
scene with Ray as the old man, we we loved acting that one out at home and practicing it when we were running lines. So when we got up on stage, oh my gosh, I loved just getting we don't yell at each other. That is not something that happens in our home. So getting to play a husband and wife on stage where we are just fuming and yelling at each other and accusing each other, which is just something that's not in our marriage, was so much fun because it wasn't real.
it's fun when you get to play someone who's a complete opposite of who you are, and I loved
Yeah.
and that's what I like about some parts that I've had, where you get to be someone so different, and it's fun
Yeah.
exploring that. Yeah.
Our lovely director, Brent Sigmund, he had a hard time drawing it out of me. Oh my gosh, the scene I hated the most doing was getting Randy to eat like a piggy. Oh my gosh, I really struggled with that scene for some reason. 'Cause it's so not who I am as a mom, where she's like, "Okay, Randy, how do the piggies eat? Eat like, oh, you're my little piggy. How do you eat? Oh, that's right. Oink, oink." Oh my gosh. And he was like, "Victoria, sweeter. Like, drag it out. It's okay." 'Cause I kept rushing through that scene because I did not enjoy doing it.
Well, so we were living in Germany at the time, sadly, so we didn't get to see this show. but you called me and you were like, "Mom, I need help with this piggy scene. Honey, what? I don't even know what to do. I don't like it. It's not fun. What can I do?" And we talked through that one, and you're like, "Okay, okay, I think I could do that."
I hated that scene. I hated it. I loved pretty much every other part of the show. I loved us singing Jingle Bells in the car when we get a flat tire, and I loved having to scream Ralphie's name because the old man tells me what he said. He does the "Oh fudge" scene. The best parts, though, were doing Ralph's, daydream scenes. Because, like you
Oh,
said, it's so much
yes.
fun to be in a show where you get to just overact
Oh,
and be over the top.
yes.
The soap scene was also one of my favorites, where Ray and I milked it, how over dramatic we were at his
Wait, where he's
blindness.
blind, the blind
Yes.
scene.
What did I
Okay,
say?
the soap scene,
Oh,
the
yes,
it
that's what I meant, the soap poisoning,
okay,
yeah, but his
yes,
blindness, yes, and how
yes.
over dramatic we were with that, and my husband going, "I told you not to use Life Boy," and it was so much fun.
I
I yeah, I
would
loved
love to
those
do
scenes.
that. So, if you ever had the opportunity to be in that show again, who would you want to be? Would you want to be the mom again?
So my only options are the mom or Miss Shields. And Miss
Mhm.
Shields is a really fun part, but I would absolutely play Mother again. I yeah, totally 100% I'd wanna play her again.
The mother is
What
so
about
much
you?
fun. Well, the mother is a lot of fun. Um, I think I could barely eke by playing the mom, because I am older, but Miss Shields in the musical to do the best song, if that was that song and pull out my tap shoes because I haven't tapped in years, but that would be so much fun. You'll shoot your eye out. I mean, it
Now I
was
need
you
to
need to
listen to
find
it.
that. Yes, you need to look for it and this see it on stage at the Tonys. That was
I
funny.
I will say that so we do a greeting line at the end of every show
Yes.
for community theater, it's really common, and so it gives people the chance if they wanna talk to any of the actors, they can stop and say hi. This is probably the show where I got the most feedback, and not just on my performance, just people loving the nostalgia, loving the story. They wanna stop and chat about the
Mm,
movie and how much they love it, and what their favorite lines were, and their favorite quotes. Just they love this story and wanted us to know how much they loved it and getting to see it in this type of setting where it's live, it's new actors, new interpretation, that kind of thing. But I did get and more than one person, more than 2 people, every single time they were men. I don't know what that says, but I there were at least 3 men at different performances who came through the greeting line and went, "I don't remember her being pregnant in the movie."
yeah, she wasn't.
She wasn't. I'm just pregnant. I just happen to be pregnant. One person did ask me if it was uncomfortable wearing the belly, and I was like, "Yes, it's uncomfortable, but I don't really have a choice. I am actually pregnant. This is my body."
I remembered you saying that people asked if, "Is that real?"
Yes, like, we didn't just make a random character choice. Like, I just happened to be 7 months pregnant. I'm sorry. I have very vivid memories of parts of the show where Alice would just start going crazy. Like clockwork every single time. There were parts of the show where it was very distracting because she would just decided it was her moment. And she's going insane with movement in my belly, and I'm just having to stand there like nothing's happening. But it feels like everyone can see it, but they can't. It just felt so strong to me
Mm-mm.
because she just was like, "This is my part of the show," and would she would go insane.
I love it. So, what do you like best? Do you like the book? Do you like the movie? Do you like the stage production? And by the way, folks, if you haven't seen the play, it is very, very similar to the movie.
Mm,
It's almost like it was written from the movie for the
mhm,
stage. It's just really, really well done with the limitations that a stage gives you. So,
mhm.
but what do you like best?
I love the movie. The movie. And I will
Me too.
group with that the newest sequel, A Christmas Story Christmas. I love them both. They both give me completely different feelings, but they're part of my Christmas movie lineup now every year.
Yeah.
But especially A Christmas Story, the original. Love it, love it, love it. Still a classic. We still quote it like crazy in our household. And now to us, it's just we feel special that we got to do the play, but it does not replace the movie in our minds. We just feel special that we got to say a lot of the iconic lines and we got to hold the leg lamp and I got to break it. I
You know,
loved all of
in
that.
community theater too, it is hard to find that natural talent that you saw in Peter Billingsley. I know I keep saying him,
Right.
but I don't know everybody else's name. They were so good.
Mhm.
They were so good. It would be so hard to find 4 little boys who can act like these kids could.
Mhm.
And in community theater. It just is. If we're being very honest, it's hard to find that.
Mhm.
So they were just incredibly talented little boys and so much fun to watch. They really brought their A game to this very delightful film that I love watching every year. So I know
Mhm.
we're filming this in January, but it sure was fun to watch this. I just put it in today to watch the movie. Why not? And since I knew we were going to film, like, I'm going to watch it. Even though I've already watched it, I watched it for Christmas. I wanted to watch it again and just enjoy.
Uh, yes. One thing I did wanna read just from our script that cracks me up is Ray, my husband, loved getting to do all the nonsense, crazy cursing that the old man
Mhm.
does, and that's kind of like it's very Home Alone, it's very Joe Pesci-esque fake cursing, but this was the original because this came first, I think. This came before Home Alone, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
Yes. Home
Um,
Alone was
but
90s.
the old man just, like, is like there are all these nonsense words that, of course, are meant to replace the cursing that he's doing, and Ray loved getting to do it, but he had to have all of his cursing lines printed off and posted backstage because he does most of it backstage while he's, beating the furnace, he's battling the furnace, so he's offstage doing that, but we're supposed to hear him doing his nonsense cursing. Rasa, frasa, fram, basil, frasa, summoning bench. And then he has to say, "The damper. Open the ding blang fuzzle whizzin' damper." This was Ray's favorite. "Who the hallelujah turned this Daniel Boone furnace down so low? Open up the dog bone damper, will ya?" So, yeah, and there were a slew of those, and I just remember Ray running those lines specifically over and over and over because he did not wanna mess that up in the moment.
Right. Right. So I've mentioned this before. I'm a part of a fun little book club where we choose a book. And for the next year, my book will travel all across the United States to 11 different people. And then I will get it back next January or next December. And so I chose In God We Trust.
That's
All Others Pay
great.
Cash by Jane Shepherd. And so this book is about to be traveling. But I was so excited to choose this and go, okay, I'm going to read this. And then I knew we could cover it on the podcast. So, hello to my Beehive Book Club. And if you do listen, I hope that you'll post a little message and say hi. But this book is going to be going out very soon, next week or so. And I can't wait to get this out and see what other people think because I'll be surprised if anyone else has read this book. I really will. I've never known anyone who's read it, but now the two of us have.
Mhm. We
So
have.
if you've read this book, what is your favorite part? What is your take on it as compared to the movie? I'd love to know.
Yep. Yeah, I wanna hear too. And Mom, I'm curious. We didn't talk about this at the beginning, so I wanna ask you now, what are you reading? That's not podcast related.
So since I've been unpacking and trying to get my house in order and everything, I've been listening to some audiobooks. And I've read a lot of books too. But with my audiobooks, today is January 24th, and I've already read I think 20 books this year. And so I think 3 of those are audiobooks. But I just finished first Lie Wins. That was an interesting audiobook.
You did, you finished it!
Yeah, I finished it
I
today
I
while I
just
was
saw today
getting
that
set.
you've been reading it.
Mhm. I finished it. It was
Oh,
an
I really like
audiobook,
that
so I
book.
finished it while I was getting this stuff set up. I had to totally rearrange this. And so it just, as I'm working around the house, I'm able to listen to a book. Well, I started a new one. Oh my gosh. I think I'll end up crying through this one. It's called From Here to the Great Unknown. And this is a memoir by Lisa Marie Presley and Riley Keough. And Riley is Lisa Marie Presley's daughter. And Riley, if you know who she was Daisy in Daisy Jones and the Six, but she
Mhm.
is voicing her mother's story. Julia
Mm.
Roberts is acting as the voice of Lisa Marie, and it's so good already. But Riley said her
Mm.
mother had asked her to help her write her story. And so Riley was like, "Sure, Mom, let's do it." And then her mother died 1 month later. And then all of a
Mm.
sudden, Riley gets these recordings of her mother's story in her mother's voice.
Mm.
And so she wrote this down from her mother's
Wow.
words. I think it's gonna be really, really good because I grew up as an
Mhm.
Elvis fan. I always liked Lisa Marie. I liked the whole family, and so it'll be really I think it's just gonna be a really special book, especially having Riley speaking, doing part of it, and then Julia Roberts sounds great, of course. What
Wow.
about
Yeah,
you?
that's a really special way to experience that through the audiobook.
Yes.
I am finally making time for reading. I'm finding time, more like. So outside the podcast, I am reading this is fun. I'm reading Meg and Joe, which is by Virginia Contra,
Oh.
and it was a gift when I did Little Women. Our director, Brent Sigmund, he gave me Meg and Joe as a performance
Oh.
gift, which is really sweet, and I'm finally reading it. So it's a modern take on Little Women from the perspectives of Meg and Joe. I'm finally getting through The Fiery Cross by Diana Gabaldon, who wrote the Outlander series. This is, I
Mhm.
don't even know, the 5th book in the Outlander series. So I'm slowly but surely getting through that and enjoying it as usual, as always. I always take my time with those books because they are massive.
They are.
And then for work, I'm reading Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. It's nice to find time to pick up my books and read those. It's very nice. So, are you watching anything
Yes.
right now? I know you've been busy unpacking.
Yes, we've had very little time, and your dad just got the TV hooked up. We got all of our stuff
Mhm.
on Christmas Eve. Thanks, Army.
Mhm.
But hey, we got it.
Mhm.
And so Merry Christmas! So we got all of our stuff Christmas Eve. So we've literally had our stuff for a month now. And got the TV set up, I think earlier this week, last week. And so we found a documentary. I love documentaries. He's not as big into them, but I love them. And this one I think is interesting to him. We're both finding it interesting. And it is Winona and Ashley Judd. And it's about their mom, Naomi, because
Oh.
she committed suicide.
Yeah.
And so they are sitting down talking about things. We're hearing some things that we'd never heard before, some music that was recorded in 1982 with a very young Winona. Winona, let me just say, she has always had an amazing voice.
Mm.
Always.
Mm.
It's never changed. From the time she was just a young teenager, she had that
Mhm.
rich alto voice. Oh, she's good. And I don't listen to country music, so I don't know any Judd music. The Judds. I couldn't tell you a single thing that they sang. But I do know some songs that Winona has done, and she is so good. But it's really interesting to see the story. We've seen, I don't know how many episodes it is. We've seen 2 so far, but it's good. I'm enjoying it.
Good.
I think your dad is too, because he does know the Judds, and he'd go, "Oh, I know that
Mhm.
song."
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, yeah. That's his scene
Yeah.
musically.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'm not really watching anything outside of hundreds of Disney movies, it seems like.
Yeah,
Actually, it's more like the same rotation of 6 movies. 'Cause I am determined to only let my young children watch classic Disney movies right now, none of the newer ones, although Frozen is part of our repertoire.
Frozen.
My daughter, she saw the snow on the ground and immediately ran and put her Elsa costume on, so she was dressed as Elsa all day, except when I had to bundle her up to go out and shovel snow with her dad, but otherwise she was Elsa today. What was funny though is I said, "Queen Elsa, did you do this? Did you bring the snow?" And she looked outside and she went, "No, mommy, I'm Alice." I was like, "Ah, sorry I asked. My bad."
She is so funny.
She's such a goof. But Ray and I, of course, are just like, we're just gonna watch the newest season of Taskmaster. It's always a good go-to for us to wind down, and it's so nice to just laugh. We love that show. So it's nice just to get a good kick out of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, now I want to see if I can find A Christmas Story, a, a musical live. I want to see if I can find
Mhm.
that and see it, see who's in it. I have no idea. I didn't look it up.
Yeah.
And now I want to watch A Christmas Story Christmas because I've only seen that one time
Mm.
and I just
Mhm.
can't remember a lot about it. But I also have to prepare for the things that we have coming up. And I'm very excited about that as well. And please don't forget to vote in our poll. What should we read? Which epic, huge,
Yes.
huge novel should we read? And help us decide because it's very hard because I would like to do all of them
We will
at
put a
one point.
poll. Yeah, we will put a poll out in our community posts here on YouTube as well as on our Instagram page. So if you're listening on Spotify
Mm.
or through Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music, some other means, you're going to want to go to our either our Instagram page and vote or our YouTube community page and vote. You can find us on Instagram at watching_books. You can find us on YouTube at the Watching Books Podcast YouTube page. You can find Mom at lauradawson.author on Instagram. And you can find me on Instagram at vdspringer.author. If you're liking this, please don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you're watching us on YouTube. It really helps us out. Wherever you are, please just do the thing and rate us and leave a comment. That really helps us out a lot to get the word out so that other people who enjoy movies and books and stage productions as much as we do can also enjoy these discussions with us. We are putting this one out first because it's the closest to Christmas time. But we have already recorded another episode that we're going to be releasing after this one. So if it seems a little confusing, it's only because we already have it recorded and it was recorded before Mom moved here. So we're going to be putting that one out and it'll come after this one. But otherwise, we're going to start putting out new content very soon
Yes, we are. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again next time.
when we watch books. Bye.
Watch books. Bye.